Welcome to the Naked Wine Podcast.
Two best friends and wine. Natural and free. Skin contact sometimes. Unfiltered, never find. Organic grapes and yeast.
Yo!
Yay!
Welcome to episode number 14 of the Naked Wine Podcast. Today we are talking about how to find and pick out the perfect wine for you.
Yes, for you, or for your friends, or whoever you're buying your wine for, but mostly for you.
So, for the video watchers, the YouTubers, we are in beautiful Kauai. If you remembered Pet Nats on a Paddleboard, we are back.
We are back.
And not quite naked, but...
No, we're completely naked for the listeners.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. You're right. For the listeners,
we are completely naked.
Dousing ourselves in orange wine.
In a bubble bath.
In Kauai.
Yes, we're a little sweaty, but we're having such an amazing time here.
Oh, yes. It's beautiful. It's like 80 and sunny. So anyway, how to pick out the perfect wine for you. But first, we are drinking something.
Yes, and look at this beautiful color.
Beautiful color.
It is a skin contact wine, or otherwise known as orange wine.
Orange wine.
That we picked up here in
Boom.
Kauai.
Here is the label. Now, hopefully I get this correct. I think we got it from Princeville Wine Merchant, Princeville Wine Store, Princeville Wine Market. Anyway, my opinion, it's the best natural wine, or the best wine store in Kauai, and your best likelihood of finding, low intervention natural style wines.
Yeah, we found, last time we were here, we found a few bottles that we really
Birashino
enjoyed.
Pet Nat.
Last night we got a wonderful Beaujolais, a Fleury.
From Fleury.
And
today,
we're enjoying this. So what are we drinking?
Today, this is a Valenti, and the wine is, I'm butchering my Italian here, Ciuri di Lava. And Lava should tell you all there is to know about this, because it is a Sicilian wine from none other than my favorite terroir, Etna. Mount Etna, people. We are talking volcanic soil.
And you know what's cool is we are actually in a tub made
of
lava rocks.
We're drinking the lava wine.
There's lava rocks behind us. We're in a lava rock tub.
Hot tub or bathtub. I call it
we
hot
didn't
tub.
even plan that.
We're in a hot tub time machine. Lava rock hot tub time machine.
We're getting good at this.
So this is 100% Carricante, and it definitely has some good skin contact, because it's like, what color orange? I mean, this is almost like apricot. It's like apricot orange.
Yeah, apricot orange.
It's beautiful. I get a little bit of oxidized notes. It's definitely dry.
I definitely get a little bit caramel, like you said, some oxidized notes on there.
Whoa, I'm almost like, it almost tastes like a
sherry.
A Fino
I was just
dry Oloroso sherry. Holy
really
smokes.
does.
And I'm a sucker for a good dry sherry that actually like smells like caramel waffles, but it's like dry. Yeah. It's just really comparable.
It's really delicious.
Kicking in at like 13%, so it's a little lower than like those sherries we're clocking at. But anyway, absolutely delicious. The producer, A Valenti, this was imported by the Flavor of Italy, Honolulu, Hawaii. So let's get into it. Picking out the perfect wine for you. I would say you walk into the wine store, you got the wall of wines.
It can be really intimidating.
It can be very intimidating.
Yeah. So what do you do?
Number one, I would say, think about your occasion. Yep. What are you buying the wine for?
Is it for a meal, or is it going to be enjoyed by itself? Who's going to be drinking the wine?
Is it a party? Is it a quarantine Zoom happy hour?
Yes.
Is it
just for you watching Netflix?
Yeah, or Netflix and chilling.
No wrong answer.
That is the first thing to deduce. That'll lead you in a whole lot of directions.
Yes.
If we're talking celebration, anniversaries, birthdays, pop something bubbly.
Get a Pet Nat, get some champagne.
Get some organically farmed cava from Spain. Yeah, I mean, that is like the underrated. If you're balling on a budget and you're looking for bubbles that isn't a Pet Nat, cava. Good, high quality, organically farmed cava from Spain. It is delicious and won't set you back, the $40-$50 price range that you're all used to for bubbly.
And on that note, a really great thing you can do when you walk in is find the wine expert that works there, because that is their job. Don't be afraid of them. They're normally the coolest, nicest people, and they know their shit. So, just be honest with them about how much you want to spend. Don't get all squirrely about it. Just tell them. If you want a $20 bottle of wine, that's fine. Tell them. If you're in the mood to splurge a little bit, then let them know like a ballpark range.
Yeah, ballpark range, and be like, what's new, what's exciting, maybe what's limited. Of course, what's low intervention and natural. But a lot of times, as we said before, if you have, $40, $50, $60 to spend, you can get an amazing natural wine. Like,
you really can.
You don't need to spend a couple $100s for those like cru Burgundies or your Bordeaux's that your friends in the Midwest are schmoozing and popping open. You can get some quality ass, like, buck for buck at that $50 price range. Natural just smacks it out of the park, in my opinion.
Totally. So let's say you think about what time of day you're drinking to. If you want to get a few bottles, let's say you get some bubbles, maybe a pet nut, and then maybe you want to get a orange wine or skin contact, rosé, a nice red. There's like a good order that you can enjoy them in. So you obviously want to, have the chilled wines first, the bubbles, maybe then followed by the skin contact or a nice rosé.
Because who doesn't like walking in the door and getting a glass of something sparkling and lively and cold, and a flute or a goblet, whatever your
and then
glassware of choices.
As the party is going on or your event's going on, then you can open up a lighter red, some like crowd pleasers, things that a lot of like some recommendations of a kind of red wine that a lot of people will enjoy, like a safe one. You could go for a Pinot Noir or a Gamay.
Yeah, some crowd pleaser wines.
Easy drinking.
Sauvignon Blanc, unoaked Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Gamay, dry Rieslings. As we said before, champagne, pet nats, organically farmed cavas. But those are kind of your first two steps. If you're Netflix and chilling, you probably want a cozy red.
Yeah.
If you're going to the beach, skip your reds unless they're light body and chillable, and go for orange wine. Go for some white, some pet nats. That's kind of number two, is figure out red, white, orange, bubbly.
Yep.
What is the color of your poison?
You want to cover the price range. And then I guess something to think about if you really are just getting into wine is you want to figure out like what your palate is, or let's say you're buying for friends, what
number
their
three,
palate
definitely
is.
palate.
So when we say palate, it's pretty simple. Just think about what you enjoy on your tongue. Like, you can kind of think about the foods you like. If you like
the
spicy
candy
food,
that you go for at the movie theater,
that's an excellent thing.
If you're a sour patcher,
or if you kind of like sweets. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can think about, and then just tell the wine expert that. Say, hey, I'm really sensitive to sugar, so I want a really dry wine. Or say, I want something that's like got some acidity to it because I really like acidic food or sour foods, that kind of a thing.
Thinking about your palate, and don't be afraid to, say whatever comes to mind. The wine expert isn't going to poo-poo you, or at least they shouldn't, if you're not, giving notes of oak and, asphalt and volcanic soil from Etna. Just tell them straight up. Be like, hey, I love sour candies. I want something that's kind of like zippy in that range. But if you're shopping for a group, or if you're going for like Mother's Day maybe even your mother-in-law, play it safe. Go for something like medium bodied. You can't go wrong with some of those reds that we hit before, like Pinot Noirs and Gamays. Nothing that's gonna like take over your mouth.
Yeah, if you're buying for a group of people, just don't go too crazy in any direction. Like, try not to get one that's super, super tannic, because maybe there's people who don't really enjoy that.
Tannins, or they're potentially allergic to.
Or don't get one that's, really sweet, or don't get one that's, just like basically go for an easy drinking. We talk about glue wines a lot. Those are always good crowd pleasers, especially in the summer. You can get a nice chillable glue red. That's good. But really, it's all about communication if you're gonna talk to a wine expert.
So don't be afraid of that wall.
Yes.
Of wine. It's fun. especially when you can dive in there and make friends with a wine expert. I would totally suggest finding a good local store, not poo-pooing on like Total Wines or any of those big giant conglomerates that sell wine, but find a local store where you can build a rapport with somebody. And they'll have, even if they're not stocking natural, you have probably a higher likelihood of them bringing it in for you if they're a smaller store and you're in their ear and you and your friends are in their ear about, bringing, some Kermit, bringing some Kermit Lynch imports or some Louis Dresner imports, some Zev Rovings, you have a higher likelihood of getting those into your store if you develop a really good relationship with some of your local wine shops. Give them the business, and a lot of times, the owners are working, so they're like a plethora of knowledge compared to, once again, not poo-pooing anybody at like a Total Wine, for instance, but you're talking to somebody who's like, this is their entire life and passion, so that they opened up this wine store in the first place.
They want to help you. They want to talk to you. That's like their whole point.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Say whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, and don't get nervous about the price point. Like, just be honest. Just
totally.
Like, that's their job. They carry wines in,
every range
for that purpose, and all the wine needs to be rescued from all the bottles. So it's okay if you're in there looking for a wine under $20. I mean, with natural wine, it's kind of tricky to find one under 20, but they exist.
They totally exist. And if you're in Kauai, it might not exist because you're on a freaking island. The Hawaiian Islands are the furthest archipelago, which is a chain of islands from any major continent in the entire world. Yes, Mrs. Thirsty. She is downing her orange wine. That's how delicious.
Dude, setting this up was a lot of work.
Oh my goodness. But we are out here. And on top of that, we had a crazy ass story on how we got this. So, story long.
Oh, I forgot about
long
this.
Story long or short, depending on how much time we have. Kauai, mudslides, lots of rain. There are road closures. So there are only times when we can get from my mother's house to the wine store in Princeville. And there are convoys, and if we miss a convoy, you're effed. So we beg, please, drop us off at the wine store. The convoy
Mom, I want to go to the wine store.
was opening in 3 minutes. And we said, we'll be snippety snap. And we run in there, and she shows us, we're like, orange wine. She's like, all right, here's, the $35 one. Yep. She showed us some Gravner at like $150, we were like, which was like, I respect Gravner, but she did the right thing. She showed us, like low, mid, and high tier.
She did.
And we're like, all right, let's go with Etna. We're in a volcanic bubble bath. Let's go with the volcanic wine. And we can see the cars moving. Yep. I'm getting calls from my family. Where the hell are you?
Get in the car. We're leaving.
And we literally checked out and sprinted 2 bottles each in hand to the car, hopped in. Like, I felt like this was the last helicopter out of Vietnam. I was like, I flew into the car. I stuck my hand out for Miss. Yep. She flew in, slammed the doors shut.
With wine.
Across a field.
Yeah.
And down the hill we went.
Barely made it. But I feel like we sound like such kids. Like, Mom, can I
go to the candy store? Bring me to the candy store.
We did wake up this morning, and the first thing we did was watch Little Mermaid in bed as we were waking up.
So hit us up in the comments with your favorite Disney soundtrack movie. I was saying that Little Mermaid or Little Windy.
The listeners, our whole structure blew over, but I think we're still here.
We're still here.
We have a better cleavage shot now.
That's in a butt ass naked cleavage shot. So at least you can see my pecs, So I don't have to cover mine up for YouTube. That's kind of convenient.
Yeah.
A little sexist, but
it's fair. It's not fair.
But let us know. I kind of think Little Mermaid might have the best soundtrack.
I mean, waking up this morning and watching Little Mermaid was maybe the highlight of my trip.
And then, get this. We listened to Under the Sea. We shut it off because, we can't just sit there in our tin can Airstream all day listening to Disney shows. We got to get out there. I went snorkeling under the sea, and I saw a sea turtle. It was like, you can't make this shit up. It was mind-blowing. And now I'm here with Miss.
Yeah.
Drinking orange wine. Life is pretty great.
It's great.
So, in summary, picking out the perfect wine for you, make friends with the person in the store, or just be friendly, not afraid what to say.
Don't be shy.
Give them a price point. Don't be shy about that either.
Right.
Tell them what your preferences are, or what the type of occasion, or what your guest preferences are. Think about
even what kind of foods you like, or what kind of treats.
Or if you're having Thai, you're like, I'm cooking Thai.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to say, what the hell do you pair with Thai food? Well, listen, I could tell you, but maybe the average person is like, what in the world am I going to make? I would suggest sweet Riesling or pet nats, or generally something off dry, kind of combats the spiciness.
Totally.
But just don't be afraid to speak about, give any descriptors, and the wine experts can lead you in the right direction.
And you know what? If you buy a bottle and you don't like it, it's whatever. Don't get it again.
There are more bottles where that came from.
Well, and if you are getting multiple bottles for a big group, then sometimes it is fun to throw a little bit more adventurous bottle in the mix, because everyone's only having a glass each.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not your fave, that's fine, and you move on. Or maybe it ends up being your favorite pick of the bunch.
And if you have some coin to spend, ask this phrase: what's new and exciting, or what's limited, or what's like hot right now?
Yeah.
And they generally will have some good gems to show you.
Totally.
So get out there, talk to your local wine experts. Don't be afraid. Give them whatever tasty notes come to mind. Skittles, or leather and red fruits, whatever descriptors you're more familiar or confident with, and drink wine, preferably natty.
All the time, natural wine. Go natty or go home. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being the best pod partner ever.
Drink that Jesus juice.
The Jesus juice.
All right, cheers. Go natty or go home. Woo! Peace out. Hawaii.